is Bonika Odegami?
My bachelor's is from Bowie State University, Bowie, Maryland. My master's is from Bowling Green State University in Bowling Green, Ohio. And PhD at University of Toledo in Toledo, Ohio. And I'm currently in school again for my MBA from Northwood University, and that's in Midland, Michigan. I think that was when I came to this country, which was in 1998. I'm sorry, 1988, right after high school. I didn't finish Form 5 in high school in Nigeria. I left at Form 5, so I didn't finish. I didn't stay for WIAC. I was kind of scared that I won't pass WIAC. And I was terrified that I won't pass the JAM exam. So the last thing I wanted was an opportunity, a situation where I would not find a university to get into. Education system in Nigeria was very intense, at least during my time, and I just didn't have, maybe I didn't believe in myself enough. So when I came to the US, I saw the opportunities that await. At 16, to get into university in this country wasn't as hard as it would have been. That was like a big no-no. My father said, I will be going to either medical school or law school. I was the campus president at the Eastern campus from 2007 to 2009.
Okay.
So during my tenure here, I have served as a president. I've been here since 2003. So I finished in Ohio. I was in Atlanta for about 3 years. I got a phone call out of the blue. I wasn't working. I got a phone call from a colleague that graduated with me, who asked if I wanted to move down to Detroit, Michigan. There's an opening for a dean. And at the time, I just thought, I'm not a dean, because the deans that I know, they're like in their 50s and 60s, and that's just not me. At the time, I was in my 30s. So I wasn't sure, and I said, oh yeah, why not? What do they do? And he talked to me a little bit over the phone. I sent in my application on August 28th. I started working at Wayne County as a dean on September 8th. This was in 2003. And I set a goal for myself that before I retire, I want to be a president. What I got mostly, and what I still get, is the surprised look. Dan was like, you're a dean? Dean of what? When I became president, it's like, you're president? So I get that, but it's not a challenge. I'm flattered. Whether here or in Nigeria, it's not the norm for women. This is a typical black, white boys network kind of thing. Women are breaking the glass ceiling. I can't take credit for that. I can say I stand on very strong shoulders for women who have paved the way for me to come along. Philosophy that I keep my eye on the prize. And anything else that comes along is just a distraction. So if you can just focus on what your goal is, those things become irrelevant. I'm in this country for a reason, and if I can just focus on that reason to make it, then these little things that we complain, and I'm not trying to minimize it, but it's not part of my journey. So I don't pay attention to those. So maybe they did occur, I don't know. I do know that if I faced any challenge at all, it's mostly maybe I'm young, maybe with a few Nigerians, not many, but maybe with a few Nigerians who want special favors being Nigerians. I'm strictly by the book. So to some, it may come across as, she's arrogant. She's perfectly fine with that, I think it's probably an image that I'm okay with creating. That way, I don't allow for just anybody to come my way and, ask me to do things that may prevent me or jeopardize, my career. Exactly. And I've had that. I've had Nigerians come and say, my sister, can you do this? Well, you're asking me what you would never ask a white person to do. So don't do that. And you're asking me questions that, if indeed I'm your sister, you wouldn't ask that. Which is why I think a lot of Nigerians don't aspire to high positions, because you get there and you feel an obligation to help. But sometimes you compromise your position by helping. So I'm strictly by the book. I can't say I've faced challenges from Nigerians. I've had a lot of support from the Nigerians in this region, a lot. I'd probably say that I have at least 5 Nigerians in my office.
Wow.
I can proudly say that on every campus, I've Nigerians that work there, maybe 10 to 20% of them have come through me.
Wow.
So I may not directly hire, but I've had some, and I've strongly influenced the hiring decision. So Nigerians that qualify and they come through me, they'll get a job. To Nigerians, I think many of us that school in Nigeria have an obligation. I went to school during free education. I don't know if it's still free, but I went to school when it's free education. I remember vividly as a kid, we used to praise, we had this song that we used to praise our Lord for giving us free education. We had this Christian song or gospel song that we changed into praising our Lord for giving us free education. I went to a Jakonde school, and it wasn't for the people of Jakonde, but like Awolowo and Nicole, I probably won't be here today. So they didn't know me personally, but whether they believe it or not, they paved the way for me. So I, as an educator, I have an obligation to Nigerians. I really do. I think for those of us that can make a change in this country, we have an obligation to the education system in Nigeria and to our students. So I don't do anything special. I do encourage though. I'll get a lot of students that'll come to my office and first they're scared, this mentality that I'm going to the VC's office and, I kind of have them relax and we talk. And I typically won't sit like we're sitting now. We'll probably sit together there. So today calls me mommy. Because I guess it's the cultural thing, but I meet with them and I talk to them about goals and what they aspire to be and why. And even if they want nursing, why? Because a lot of times it's immediate gratification. Nigerians suffer from that. We all want immediate gratification. But I have to let them know, not that you're not smart, but nursing school is not easy. Yeah, so I kind of encourage and probe, and we do a little bit of advice in my office. And, whichever direction they want to go is what I support. It's a branch of an umbrella, which is the American Association of Community Colleges. So there are about a little over 1,200 community colleges in the United States. So all of those community colleges belong to that association. Part of that association has women. And this country has suffered a lot from women in higher education aspiring, and climbing the ladder and, breaking the glass ceiling kind of issues, which I can gladly say we're moving away from them. We've broken glass ceilings, we're getting there. Now we just need a lot more women of color for the initial one. We had elections after that, and I guess they just still feel like Bonika needs to go in. So, I needed to have something to do while I'm in the hospital with her, watching her sleep, and I'm just sitting there. And those that know me know I don't like pity parties, so I don't want to sit there and just cry, why me, why me. It's here, so let's deal with it. But I needed something to while away time. I wasn't focused enough to do work. I don't know anybody that wants to trust me with work during that time. So I picked up a hobby of making jewelry that's different from your traditional Nigerian beads, and I make it with fabric. And I started watching YouTube videos. It's popular in Paul's spare time. Believe it or not, I do have a little bit of spare time. Yes, I do.
So how do you juggle things around?
I don't sleep very much.
Really?
I leave here typically by 8-9.
Every day?
Monday through Thursday.
Wow.
Fridays I try to get out of here on time. I don't know what on time means, but I try to get out of here.
5, 6.
Yeah, 6, 7. Weekends, if I'm not working on schoolwork, then time that I have my daughter. My son is out of the house, so time that I have my daughter I spend. And other times I don't watch TV. I don't go to parties. I don't. I'm boring really. So I just make jewelry. I mean, I get students from Nigeria, and it's sad. They can't write, they can't spell, they can't speak. I mean, it's disappointing considering that I went to school in Nigeria, and I just don't know how you graduate high school and you can't spell, but it is what it is, There are a lot of problems. It's not just the education system feeds off other problems that we have in the country. So it's not an isolated problem that we can just go fix. It requires all hands on deck. Yeah. And some people are cut out for, frontline battle, those that don't go, and some of us are the support. And what I plan to do is plan to support. And I want to introduce the community college system in Nigeria, because I think that will help with a lot of problems and a lot of unemployment and lack of middle class that we have in Nigeria. I think.
How do you want to do that? You don't want to go back.
I can consult. I can think
We
also
need people
I'll
like you
offer
to be on ground.
I'll offer my support for free at that, but I do want sometime, since I reached my goal faster than I anticipated, I do want part of my legacy to be when you say community college in Nigeria, my name follows. Well, you don't even personalize me because I'm a competitor, so no. It's both. It's Nigerians, Americans. It's both. Americans, or let me say Americans, non-Nigerians don't mind spending money.
Yeah.
At least from my experience. Non-Nigerians will not say, they don't, the bargain, it's $200. No, let me pay $150. Oh, I'll shame you price. Yeah, non-Nigerians don't do that. They kind of respect the price that you put on them.
Yeah.
Very few Nigerians that do patronize. I think I just have a target set. I think the Nigerians that patronize me are ones that like to be different. Okay. They don't want the regular beats. There's nothing wrong with the beats, but they don't want to look like everybody else.
Yeah.
So, Nigerians, especially Yoruba people, want to stand out at somebody else's party. Mm-hmm. So, we do. I'm guilty. Absolutely. And that's what they want. And those clients don't mind spending money. So, I custom make it. So, I don't have an inventory. You have to tell me what you want. We'll draw and,
And you make it by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Yourself? With your busy schedule?
With my busy schedule. I have a partner in Maryland. She's more of my administrative partner.
Okay.
She's good with putting things in order. She's good with keeping me accountable with, how much did we make, how much are we spending. She's good with that, and I need that. She makes jewelry not as much. I just have a passion for it. She makes some, but not as much. Most of the orders I get, people come to me. I'm sure and she lives in Maryland, by the way. Okay. So I think once we start marketing in Maryland a lot, she'll be able to be making it. But the ones that we have now, I'm marketing out of Detroit, Michigan. So okay. I get the orders here. But all of them are custom made. I don't have inventory. Anything that you see on my site is something that we either use for a fashion show that we didn't sell, and that will be what inventory will be. But I don't just make it to make it. I only make it if you ask. I just came back from Baltimore Fashion Week.
Really?
I also just came back from Hot Accessories Week in Tampa, Florida, which just instead of fashion, it's accessories. Mm-hmm. We have Walk Fashion Show in Detroit. I did that. There was a Fashion Designers Expo in Florida, in Miami, that we've done. So I do fashion shows. And for that, then I'll put my line on the runway. Whatever we don't sell, we put on the website. Faster than I planned. That's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, because now I feel like I'm a teenager all over again, and I'm trying to decide what do I want to be when I grow up. I do want to be an influence on young people's lives. Not just any young person. Those people that we've given up on, that they won't make it. Those people that we don't think will make it. And if you went to school in Nigeria, those people that we call Olodo. Those people in America who've been incarcerated and society has given up on. Those are the students that I work with that gives me the most fulfillment. The ones from Nigeria that I'm sure the entire family had to put money together just to send them here. We do have a large population of students that are lost. And I think my legacy will be when they become, when they become somebody, I want to be able to say I had something to do with that. The only way I can go is chancellor, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that, because that does not require a lot of hands-on. I want the hands-on. I want to be able to sit a student down and let's have a tough time and let me put you to tears today, so that in 2 years I can hug you on the stage because you graduated. And that's the expectation that every student that walks into my office knows that I have of them, even the ones that work for me. Most of the interns in my office are Nigerians, and even the ones that are from different countries at the time, that we start embracing those people, because you'll be surprised. Every June you should attend our commencement. We graduate, so every year it's a wonderful feeling when those students who everyone has given up on walks across the stage. You hug them, you hang them the diploma, and then you whisper into their ear, "Don't come back here, go to Wayne State, go to another," But it's such a wonderful feeling. So I'm hoping that in the next 5 years and further on, that I continue to make a difference?
I'm just my own, maybe I'm the influencer. Maybe they should stop hanging out with me. But I've never had peer pressure as a problem. If I could do it over again, I think I'll have a better relationship with my father.
Oh.
I think I grew up bitter. And in spite of my mom's effort to change that perspective, you know, I was so bent on my way or the highway. If I could do it over again, I'll learn to forgive more, forget often. Because I think I'm at a point in my life where I want to be daddy's little girl, and I want daddy to say, that's my daughter. Now, my mother has done a phenomenal job. She really has. She was a tough cookie. I used to question whether or not she was my mother. But I miss having a father figure. And I think it's, while I've learned from it, and I can understand when students walk through my door, I can relate to some of those students, especially the American students who grew up in a single parent home. I can relate to that. So that's an added benefit. But I think the expectations would have been different if I had a father in my life. I think, I mean, growing up, my father was one that beats the crap out of me just so I can understand, I can pass my math class, and I was one of those kids that I'm playing outside and he'll say, Bonika, and I say, yes, daddy, and say 6 times 9, and I'm thinking, what? So now I have my hands behind my back, I'm counting fingers, you know, his expectations were completely unrealistic, but I needed that. I really needed that. And even when I talk to my kids about my father, I'll say, I'm excellent in math thanks to my dad. I mean, my mom let me be me, and she supported. But I probably needed that a few times in my lifetime. I've made quite a few bad decisions now. Now I haven't always been good. I've made bad decisions. It's by the grace of God that I'm here. I have a lot of friends who are in jail. I've made choices that I'm not proud of. And I think if my father was around, I probably would have been held a little bit more accountable, even though my experiences made me and shaped me into who I am today. And I can use those experiences to train my kids on what not to do, decisions that you should not make. But I needed him. I don't now, but I needed him at those times. Even though it may be good that I made those mistakes and I screwed up really bad. But
you don't want to go there, right?
No, I don't want to go there. I can tell you that the perception, you know, it's funny, the perception that society has or Americans have of Nigeria or Nigerians, not necessarily Nigeria, but Nigerians in this country. Because, you know, I said to my boss recently, I said, we had someone that wanted to sign a contract with us for international partnership, and I could smell rat right away, and I said, we shouldn't do that. And he said, why? I said, listen, I'm a Nigerian, and I'm not proud to tell you that, but you can't 419 a Nigerian. I just don't see how you do that. We invented fraud. You know, we did. Yeah. That's the image that people see of us. And we perpetrate that too. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to send you an email of a woman that killed her husband in Baltimore. Why can't I just send you an email of that Nigerian? Why can't I send an email about Kenny on something he did with Fish Market? Why can't I send you an email by email on what he's doing with Cola Restaurant? Hey, we talked about Shola. Why can't we send you an email and say, hey, let's get some publicity for Shola's Agent of Hope event in August? No, we don't do that. But we will send an email and we'll post on Facebook what Nigerians did everywhere. Well, I hung out with people like that before, you know, and like I said, I've made some of those choices in my past. 4 kids. She don't have time to be checking on me all the time. So I gravitated towards father figures, these uncles. And hey, if your uncle's driving a Porsche, I want to drive a Porsche. Oh, that's what you did to drive. Oh, I want to do that. I was a kid, you know, I was in my teens, and I hung out with people I better not see my kids hanging out with, you know. And like I said, I made choices I'm not proud of. Mm-hmm. But I don't regret them though. Because I think, like I said, it helps me talk to my students and my kids on what you should never ever do. I think
I was never locked up because God loves me. He loves me greatly. I mean, everybody around me has gone to jail. It's like, oh, okay, so no, I don't want to go to jail. Hell, I got a ticket and I was detained one time and I'm like, oh, I'm never going to commit any crime, ever. So I think I had a rude awakening early on in my life. So that would be my past that I'm not so proud of. But if I need to tell that story to encourage someone or discourage someone from making the wrong decision, I will. Okay. I'm going to Birmingham, UK in about 3 weeks. I go to China, I go to India, I go to Jamaica. I go wherever, whoever wants partnerships, I'll go. So I travel a lot, and while working, I have fun. So that's and I read a lot. I will if it's work related or. My philosophy is if I'm going somewhere and it's not going to put money in my pocket or make me meet someone that can put money in my pocket, it's not worth my time. Because time is money for me. You know, each time is money. I'm always thinking about, I can be making a jewelry at home that I'm going to sell. I can meet the mayor and we can talk strategy about business that will further make me look good at work. It has to be something more than a baby shower this weekend, a wedding. That's a bit much, you know. So I don't do it. Now, I'm not saying I don't ever go. I do. But I'm not. It's standard. I get out of bed. Before I get out of bed, I just want to open my eyes. I may not verbally pray, but I pray and I ask for guidance on how my day is going to go. And while I'm dressing up, I'm strategizing on what's going to happen today. You know, I'm not good at keeping a calendar. As you can tell, I forgot about this interview. But my goal when I walk out is when I come back home, I want to be able to look in the mirror and say,
You've done something.
I've done something, even if it's one person. And thank God the nature of my job affords me the opportunity to make a difference in at least one person's life a day, at least one person. So my ritual really is just to kind of talk myself, after I talk to God, talk myself through what am I planning to do today and how do I effect change, you know, and I always question myself, what is the quality of my intent? Whatever I intend to do, why? You know, why am I doing it for me? Am I doing it so I can get more recognition? Am I doing it so I can help somebody? Am I challenging someone? And I challenge my staff all the time, so they don't know what I'm coming into work for today, but they know it's going to be a challenge. So I always question what is the quality of my intent, and through my drive, which is about I gravitate to her when I'm watching her on CNN. I love her confidence. She interviews great. She argues with class. She's one of those people that curse you out without you knowing that you just got cursed out, you know. And it's not about party affiliation, not because she's a Democrat, but more, I think she speaks with passion when she's talking about political issues and strategies, and, you know, when she's analyzing anything political that's going on. I admire how her poise, you know, she's extremely articulate, and, you know, I love to spend time in picking her brain. You know, in fact, I want to dye my hair to look just like hers. I admire her, I really do. But that's a role model or someone I admire. Along my journey, I've had many mentors, too many to count. Way too. I just don't think this is me. I don't think it's my doing. I think I had people that believed in me I still talk to my high school English teacher, and I remember how he helped me and how he believed in me and how he encouraged my writing. And each time I talk to him, he's always telling me, Bonika, I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it. Well, I'm glad you knew because I didn't know. But hey, you know, I'm in touch with him, and he's had a great influence on my life. So anything I do, I always think back to how Mr. will he feel? Will he be proud? Will he be disappointed? My current boss, Dr. Ivory, I've known him for 12 years. He's like a father to me. I mean, sometimes his expectations are completely unrealistic, but he challenges me. Again, he's another person I think of before I do something, I'm thinking, gosh, what if Dr. Ivory finds out? I'm not worried about being fired, by the way. I'll get a job. I'm not worried about being fired. You know, I'm good. I'm good at what I do, so I'm not worried about being fired. But I do care about the mentors that I've had and their expectations of me, the expectations of my behavior, the expectations of how I conduct myself. So I look up to people like Dr. Ivy. I have there was a consultant in my office earlier, he left. He was my boss when I was a vice president. But he was more than a boss, he was my mentor, you know. You have me come to work on Saturdays and Sundays, and I thought, God, you must be a slave owner, you know. You know, when you're trying to effect change on people, we don't see it right away. It's afterwards, you know. My ability to network, I can credit to him. We'll go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and we'll sit, and he'll say, you can't sit beside me, you have to go sit at another table. Well, you may not know, but I'm not that friendly. So,
Oh my God.
I'm extremely nice. I'm not that friendly though. It takes me a very long time to break the ice. It takes a long time.
Okay, you're terrible.
So we're not in public where you just walk up to me and start talking to me. Not that I will be rude. I just don't warm up very well. Not
Okay.
quickly. It takes a minute. Once we get to know each other, I'm extremely nice. But I'm not that friendly at all. So I'm not that girl that's gonna go out and start a conversation and, you know, talk about what do you do. In my head, I'm thinking, I don't care what you do, you know. And Dr. Miller was more, and I'm very blunt, by the way. You got, and tell me what they do and why you got their business cards. So now you're putting me in a situation that requires that I talk to people.
Yeah.
Because if I don't talk, you're not going to talk to me. I always have a look they don't talk to me anyway, so you're not going to talk to me. So now I have to talk to you. At the time, I thought he was being difficult, really, but I'm glad he did that. And I use that same technique on my staff, the exact same technique. We'll go out and they'll hang with me. I'm like, no, you need to go sit at that table. Or I send them to a conference and I said, well, part of what I need back in addition to your report is 3 business cards. And they give me the same look I'm sure I gave Dr. Miller. So I credit my networking skills to Dr. Miller. I'm getting better. I'm not as stuffy, but but it does take, I mean, personality-wise, it just takes me a minute. My mother, and I know everybody wants to count their mother, but her expectations was, she said she doesn't have money, she doesn't have gold, she has no land in Nigeria, no house, nothing for me to inherit, but she will support my education, and that's all she can give me. So, and then she told me, don't do it for me. She said, so if you like, you do it, you like, you don't. Her support and expectation made me rise to the occasion. See, I'm a believer in expectations. If you set a certain expectations for people, they'll meet it.
Yeah.
If you set it low, they'll meet it. If you set it very high, they'll meet it. I mean, I set expectations for my kids. I have a son that graduated high school and college at the same time. And people say, how do you do that? It's the expectations. You can play football, you can work at McDonald's, you can do whatever you want to do, but my expectation is that you don't bring anything less than a B into this house. If you do, you will pay for it. You pay for a C, and I'll whoop you for a D. And I whoop my kids, so I'll whoop you for a D. Both of them have not disappointed me. Even my 15-year-old is in college now, and she's in high school, and it's just about expectations, you know. So you'll see her on the weekend, and she's studying. It's because you have to have people in your life who expect the best. I don't make excuses, oh, you're from Nigeria and you know, you're having a hard time. And those are your stories. But when you come to Wayne County Community College District, my expectation is you're going to pass with 3.5 or better. We have that conversation. Now, do I do that to other students? Probably not. Because maybe legally I can't do that. But with Nigerians, I'll tell them, I'll close the door and smack you. I tell all my Nigerian students that. You can't tell me, oh, excuse me, the class is too hard, I want to drop it. Close the door, let's have that conversation one more time. Because I know culturally, now I can't have a student from Bosnia in my office and then say, close the door, you know. So my expectation is they're very high. And that's because I had mentors who had very high expectations. And I can't just say it's 1 or 2, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm not here definitely by myself.
Describe yourself in 1 word.
In a
Not
nice
friendly.
word. In a nice word is.
Maybe 2 then, if that's difficult.
I'm very assertive. And I mean that in every sense of the word. I'm a go-getter. I'm assertive in my relationships. I'm assertive in my dreams. I'm very assertive. Very.
your pattern were taught for our viewers? People that are watching you now, you've been talking to them, telling them about how to go about everything, your own journey, how you attain this position and all that. What are your parting thoughts? What do you want to tell them? Your advice? Is there anything you want them to know again? Is there anything you want to say to convince them that you can be whoever you want to be in life?
I can say I am living proof that you just have to set goals. You have to set goals. They don't have to be realistic, but they have to be goals though. The disaster is not in not meeting your goals. It's when you don't have any.
Yeah.
If you have them and you're driven, you have a desire. You may not have the means, but you're driven.